சுமக்கின்றார் செல்கின்றார் உலகமீட்பர் ஏளனம் நிறைந்த பாதை வழியே மாந்தரே சொல்லுங்கள் நான் என்ன செய்தேன் என் தோளில் சிலுவையேற்ற பாதை நிறைந்துள்ள நாட்டுக்கு உங்களை ஆவலாய் நடத்தி சென்றே என் இந்த செயல்கள் எல்லாம் மறந்து என் ஆத்மாவில் துயரம் தந்தே.
In 1938, Crispin was born as the son of Mr. Thomas and Mrs. Rosal. He was the youngest of 7 siblings. After his formal education, in 1960 he joined in the Franciscan Asrham. In 1965 he starts to made a lot of missionary works in different places. In the year 1987 the seed of Shanti Ashram was sown in the fertile land of Mukkadal. The small seed began to grow slowly and now it sprout out like a big tree which bears rich fruits. Meanwhile a small house was also built to take care of the old and destitute. In 1994 he was ordained as priest. Thus, his cherished dream of becoming a priest, missionary and sannyasi was fulfilled. God's providence was with the ashram right from the beginning of its inception till now a day. As years passed by, many well-wishers came forward to render both financial and spiritual assistance to give food, shelter and clothing to the downtrodden and abandoned. Due to the benevolence and selfless assistance of many, the ashram reached to the heights of glory and fame. Most Reverenced Father Crispin together with members of ashram disseminate the fragrance of love and service through strength received from prayer and worship. But now we go back some centuries ago, around year 480, in Italy was born another person, Saint Benedict. His time was a world in collapse, ruled by the danger. There the young Benedict left his studies in Rome and go out looking for a Christ-centered life. For that purpose, he was living 3 years inside a cave. Then people discover him and admire his wisdom. After that he founded his monastery in Subiaco. It was later when he was living with a new community in Monte Cassino, rounded by the mountains where he wrote his famous rule. Most probably for this new community of Monte Cassino, where he died in the year 547. Christian monasticism was started around 3 centuries before Saint Benedict wrote his rule. At that time, after Christianity becomes the state religion, monks for achieve holiness substitute the martyrdom with very extremist practices. There are very heavy examples of that time. But Saint Benedict was not agree and propose a different way where you can find holiness by being in a live of community, with a healthy relationship with the love of God and with following a Christ-centered life. This rule it's the most influential monastic rule, and it's still alive now at the day across the world. Like you can see, in the modern times where things go so fast and all it's accelerated, where people didn't know how to go slow, to have silence, where people are looking for individuality at the same time that they are scary to be alone, on a world where are increasing the number of people that they can only see flesh but not the spiritual, maybe the context it very different, maybe the society and the technology are very different too, but the spirit of what Saint Benedict didn't like of the main city and what he was looking for when he was go out it's remain alive. It's still there, in some places like here in Shanti Ashram, and in some hearts and models of lives like Father Crispin. But what about the rule? Actually, the word rule comes from Greek term canon, which originally meant trellis. Without this tool the branches of the grapevine will grow incorrectly and be less productive. Then this trellis, this canon, this rule, are not only some kinds of steps to follow. We need to understand them like the trellis, a structure that help us to grow and produce more fruit. Work and prayer. But what's the meaning of these words? Once Jesus entered in a certain village where a woman named Martha welcomed him into her home. She had a sister named Mary who sat at the Lord's feet listened to what he was saying. But Martha was distracted by her many tasks, so she came to him and asked, "Lord, do you not care that my sister has left me to do all the work by myself? Tell her then to help me." But the Lord answered her, "Martha, Martha, you are worried and distracted by many things. There's it's only one thing. Mary has chosen the better part, which will not be taken away from here." We are Martha or we are Mary. Martha was focused on actively serving the Lord, Mary on listening the Lord. In this world be like Martha, it's necessary, it's truly necessary. We have responsibilities and because we can't be selfish, we are called to be productive to serve the Lord and serve our neighbor. Because the first commandment it's, love the Lord with all your heart, and with all your soul, and all your strength. And the second it's you shall love your neighbor as yourself. There is no other commandment greater than these. And for that we need to be productive. But sometimes, people only think in doing things, and doing things, and doing more things. Only work, and we are jumping for a task to other and other task. But the Lord tells us that Mary has chosen the better part, who sat at the Lord's feet and listened to him. Sometimes we need to learn to take a break, and be like Mary. We need to take reflection, stop for a moment of doing things, and only sit in our Lord's feet and listen to him. Because this is the best part. But I repeat, we can't not be like Mary all the time. We can't take all for ourselves and be selfish for others. The diligent hand will govern, but sloth makes for forced labor. But at the same time, it's not had sense to only be like Martha, because we need to sit and listen to God. We need to have time for the Lord. For some people it's easy, or they are more interested in be like Mary. For others it's easy, or they are more interested in be like Martha. The two sisters are opposite poles, but both are necessary, and we need to learn about them. If you are more like Martha, you need to learn to be more like Mary. And if you are more like Mary, then you need to learn to be more like Martha. We need to find the balance between the two poles. And here it's where we found the meaning of prayer and work. With all prayer and supplication, pray at every opportunity in the Spirit. To that end, be watchful with all perseverance and supplication for all the holy ones. Whatever you do, do from the heart, as for the Lord and not for others, knowing that you will receive from the Lord the due payment of the inheritance. Be slaves of the Lord Christ.
Telling I don't have phone because it is novitiate,
What's the meaning of novitiate?
Novitiate means we will have no contact with outside world, and we will be in prayer only always.
What's your feeling of this kind of life?
I'm very happy here. This is a life I wanted.
How many times you was here?
1.5 years.
How do you arrive here? How do you decide to come here?
I decided through prayer and meditation. I discovered that Jesus is calling to me a prayer life. So I found a place like this by the grace of God, and I came here.
A novitiate is a period before taking one's first monastic vows. It is in that moment in which the candidate or novice will base his religious life. It is also a time for the aspirant to get to know the congregation well, and also so that he can freely decide if he really wants to take religious vows or not. The first bells ring every day punctually at 4:30. They began the morning prayers, the Holy Mass, and the prayer of the Rosary. We are in Lent. As you see here on the screen, they are placing a Golgotha, in commemoration of the Calvary of our Lord Jesus Christ. And the soldiers wove a crown out of thorns and placed it on his head, and clothed him in a purple cloak, and they came to him and said, "Hail, King of the Jews!" And they struck him repeatedly. And carrying the cross himself he went out to what is called the place of the skull, in Hebrew, Golgotha. There they crucified him, and with him 2 others, one on either side, with Jesus in the middle. Pilate also had an inscription written and put on the cross. It read, "Jesus the Nazorian, the King of the Jews." When the soldiers had crucified Jesus, they took his clothes and divided them into 4 shares, a share for each soldier. They also took his tunic, but the tunic was seamless, woven in one piece from the top down. Here 2 millennia later, those events are still remembered with fervor. Although silence reigns, and nature feels alive, you see lots of squirrels jumping everywhere. Obviously in India we couldn't miss the cows, which are milked every day and give the milk that we drink every morning in our chai. Here they are preparing breakfast. There are many mouths to feed, so the cooking starts from the early morning. I can guarantee you that the food is delicious. The enviable climate invites us to garden.
Here is very good place to have fruit.
This is kappa. This is Kerala's favorite food. You eat this one first?
I eat
No?
like this.
Like.
It's good.
This is when they became fruit, they came and they eat. That monkeys.
Ah, the monkeys, yeah, sure. It's a lot of monkeys here.
I am came after 2-3 days and collect from here like this.
It's very peaceful place, the ashram. I see it sometimes monkeys here. They are very small, but it's a lot of them.
Here 5 variety mangoes. This one became like this.
Oh,
This much. Oval shape like this.
yeah,
Ah,
but not now.
not now. Now it's flowering now. We are one whistle now.
Oh,
like
yeah.
that. We came. They like this one, leaves. This is a female,
This is female.
mother.
The mother.
This is a son. You can catch like this. Otherwise, they could not eat. Like chicken, no? This is one kind of hen. Imu kori.
Imukori.
Kori. Kori means chicken.
A chicken, yes.
Yeah.
Ah, it's like a very big chicken.
Yeah.
They are dangerous or not?
Here's weapons. Mouse after leg. One day, one
It's like
dog is inside.
Ah, one dog.
Gone. They kicking like this. After knocking like this. They like bath. So
Bath.
like. Huh? We will show.
Oh, sure.
Sit. They can sit.
But chicken no.
They got one disease. But when she sit, don't come up.
See,
Like
because
that.
it's very old.
Yeah. That is why no sitting. Otherwise, they sitting and bathing like that. And two sided like this.
Ah, they like
yeah.
Actually, we like baths too, and you don't know what a pleasure it is to walk down to the water and swing. You can contemplate the exotic landscapes around you. Here we must stop to say that the landscape of the area through the eyes of a foreigner are completely exotic, almost paradisiacal. The horizon it's surrounded by large mountains, around us a huge big number of coconut palms, and many other trees paint the landscape in a green that contrasts perfectly with the reddish brown of the ground. When he had gone, Jesus said, "Now has the Son of Man been glorified, and in him God has been glorified. If God has been glorified in him, God will in turn glorify him in himself, and will glorify him very soon. Little children, I shall be with you only a little longer. You will look for me, and, as I told the Jews, where I am going, you cannot come. I give you a new commandment, love one another. You must love one another just as I have loved you. It is by your love for one another that everyone will recognize you as my disciples." Shanti Ashram provides shelter to multitudes of elderly and abandoned people. Those under the protection of the monastery find a new opportunity to be helped. There are many who, following the teachings of Jesus, come here and help with his donations. Because what we have if we don't have love? What you see on the screen, as is a tradition here, are some Christians who have donated food for this day and have come to eat here with them and spend some time close to God. Love is as vital as the air we breathe. Love is imitate Christ, and loving is also a way of worshipping God. As we have seen, Jesus repeated to us that love was the most important thing of all. And St. Paul made it clear to us again in his first epistle to the Corinthians. Though I command languages both human and angelic, if I speak without love, I am no more than a gong booming or a cymbal clashing. And though I have the power of prophecy to penetrate all mysteries and knowledge, and though I have all the faith necessary to move mountains, if I am without love, I am nothing. Though I should give away to the poor all that I possess, and even give up my body to be burned, if I am without love, it will do me no good whatever. Love is always patient and kind. Love is never jealous. Love is not boastful or conceited. It is never rude and never seeks its own advantage. It does not take offense or store up grievances. Love does not rejoice at wrongdoing, but finds its joy in the truth. It is always ready to make allowances, to trust, to hope, and to endure whatever comes. Love never comes to an end, but if there are prophecies, they will be done away with. If tongues, they will fall silent, and if knowledge, it will be done away with. For we know only imperfectly, and we prophesy imperfectly. But once perfection comes, all imperfect things will be done away with. When I was a child, I used to talk like a child, and see things as a child does, and think like a child. But now that I have become an adult, I have finished with all childish ways. Now we see only reflections in a mirror, mere riddles, but then we shall be seeing face to face. Now I can know only imperfectly, but then I shall know just as fully as I am myself known. As it is, these remain, faith, hope and love, the three of them, and the greatest of them is love.
Kaishaya Pichu Dhubamana